family, I have 8 brothers and 5 sisters. My father, may God rest his soul, he had a Studebaker car and he had 14 children. I don't know how we all got into that car, but we did. And he would take us to New Jersey where his brother, my uncle, lived. And we would stop at White Castles and everybody had got either a half a hamburger or a whole hamburger, one of the two. In some kind of way, we all got our hamburger, and we shared the drinks together, and we had a ball. And we got to New Jersey with my uncle. He lived in the country, and we ran around, and he had chickens and dogs and 1 goat, and we just had a real good time. When I got older and had children of my own, the fun was always when we all got together and went places. Some places as simple as going to Prospect Park, playing, running around, and I have a nice sense of humor. We always told jokes and we laughed and we played and we had a real, real good time. That was some fun times that we had. What was the most difficult thing that I had to do mentally and physically? Physically, I'd have to say martial arts. Martial arts was extremely physically demanding because the martial arts that I studied, the school that I was learning under was Grandmaster Frank Ruiz. Frank Ruiz was a Puerto Rican. He was a sergeant in the Army, and he was like a no-nonsense type of guy. In fact, when I first got into the class, the black belt instructor asked me, why did I want to practice martial arts? And this was my second school of martial arts. I didn't learn the fundamentals of martial arts in this school, but this school was a lot more advanced than the school that I went to before, although my first instructor, Sensei Quick, I would never forget him and his instructor. But when I went to this school here, when I went into the school, it was me and a friend of mine, it used to be a friend of mine, I have to say. We went into the class and he asked me, why did I want to learn martial arts in this school? I said I wanted to learn a better form of self-defense. He said, well, first of all, for you to come to this school, I think that you're insane. So I laughed at him, right? I laughed, and he didn't crack a smile. And he said, to join this class, the first thing you have to do is you have to do push-ups. So I was in pretty good shape, and I said, oh, push-ups, that's beautiful. That's not bad with me. That's not fine with me. I was saying to myself. But he said you have to start out doing these push-ups on this cinder block on your knuckles. And I've never done push-ups on the cinder block on my knuckles ever in my life. And this guy was like scary. He seemed to have been suicidal or something like that. So he told me to get in push-up position and put my knuckles on these 2 cinder blocks. That was one of the most excruciating pains that I've ever had. So he said, give me one. I pushed up and I gave him 1. Then he said 2. I gave him 2. When he said 3, I said, my whole hand and my arm, my whole body was shaking. I said, Sensei, I can't do it. Then he screamed at me. He said, you can't do it. You have to do it. What do you mean you can't do it? You know? And he had this other black belt, and his black belt punched me right in my back while I was in that position. When he punched me in the back, I went down and I pushed up again. I did another push. I was at about 3 or 4, and I said, Sensei. And I was called up like, let me up, because I'm gonna fall on my face, you know. And I wound up doing 2 more, and that was just my introduction to this class. And everything in that class was just. We did jumping jacks, you know, and jumping jacks one would consider an easy exercise. We did jumping jacks until the sensei said stop. And him saying stop is when everybody was about 25 or 30 people in the class. Blacks, Puerto Ricans, and some whites. But it was mostly blacks and Puerto Ricans. And then he used to say the thing like, give me the run. I said like him, he said, give me the run. And we started running around his dojo. It wasn't a big dojo. It wasn't gigantically big, but it was big. And we had to run behind these 2 little guys, Chooch and Chang, they call them. They was like 8 and 9 years old. Those little boys ran until everybody except them tongues was hanging out. And we was running till our gis was falling off, running. And that run was the warm-up. That was just the beginning of the class. We did push-ups, jumping jacks, kicks. We kicked until our legs almost fell off. Punches. That was like very, very, very excruciating in terms of physical.